Little Emmanuel Haro is just 7 months old. His mom, Rebecca, says she went to the sporting goods store and was in the parking lot trying to change his diaper when she says she was attacked and knocked out cold. When she came to, baby Emmanuel was nowhere to be found. And now the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department is investigating, and Emmanuel's parents are no longer talking. Tonight, we have all the latest in the case everyone is talking about in social media, the search for baby Emmanuel. But first, it was Thanksgiving of 1998 when Norma Patton said goodbye to her daughter Melissa and told her that she loved her. That would be the last conversation they would ever have. Melissa went missing, and for years it remained a mystery. But in reality, part of that mystery was solved within a year when some of her remains were recovered, chopped up in black trash bags in Atlanta, Georgia, not far from where she lived. But for several years, the remains were unidentified until 2003, when the Flint River Killer was arrested, a man who admitted to being a serial killer. That man is also Melissa's own father. Well, the mystery then continued, as it would take years, decades, for someone to actually be charged with Melissa's murder. And it wasn't her serial killer father. It was her husband, Christopher Wolfenbarger. Wolfenbarger is now on trial, and today the jury heard from the serial killer's wife, the mother of the victim, Melissa, who faced an intense cross-examination, and we have all the big moments from this dramatic day of testimony. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And the Flint River Killer was a bad dude. Bad dude. Serial killer. Serial killer, period, end of story. Someone who eluded investigators and police for quite some time, for decades, got away with it until he didn't. So this is a guy who would murder people and then put the bodies into the Flint River down in Georgia. Now, the question is, how many victims? Well, we know there are 5 victims, but are there more? That's what the trial is about, by the way, for the defense. The trial for the murder of the serial killer's daughter. Her husband's the one who's been charged, but the defense wants the jury to think long and hard about the Flint River Killer, Carl Patton, the mother. She's the victim in this case. But the question is, who did it? Investigators cleared her father, right? I mean, you would think if investigators knew that the victim was the daughter of a serial killer, and they knew that they would take a really close look at the serial killer as potentially taking the life of his own daughter for whatever reason. But they say they've cleared him. Now, he's passed away. He passed away last December. So he won't make his way into the courtroom in this case. However, trust me, this case is about him for the defense. Trying to convince the jury that her father, the serial killer, killed his own daughter. Now, there's a twist in this family. There's a twist in this twisted family, I should say. The serial killer's wife helped her serial killer husband. You follow me? Sometimes we cover cases, like BTK and others, where the serial killer, the Iceman, family doesn't know. It's like a double life they're living. But this wasn't a double life, it was a single life, and she knew about it. As a matter of fact, she testified against him after she got immunity for her role in what happened to those 5 victims. So, Norma Patton, the mother of the victim in this case, right? So she's considered a victim in this case. In murder cases, the surviving family members are considered victims. So she's a victim in this case. Yet, she's on the witness stand, and she brings with her some of the baggage, like the literal baggage of bodies in bags, to the witness stand. So this is a significant part of the case. Prosecutors have, their normal evidence that they're going to have in a case, so they're proving that or trying to prove that. Seems like they've got good evidence. But on the other hand, they've also got to erase that obvious reasonable doubt that could be raised by a serial killer who is close to the victim in the case. All right, so let's take a listen now, because this is an important part of this case, an important part of this trial, which is the cross-examination of Norma Patton. This is the defense's opportunity to try to convince this jury that she and her serial killer husband may very well be involved with the murder of their daughter, Melissa. Let's watch.
Now, you've mentioned that your husband, Carl Patton, eventually confessed to murdering 5 people. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you involved with some of Mr. Patton's murders?
I helped him dispose of the bodies.
Okay. So you were involved?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, for some of the murders, you were not involved, is that correct?
That's correct.
But you overheard Carl making plans for them?
Yes.
And you testified about this under oath in Fayette County in 2023, is that correct? I'm sorry, I made the mistake so many people have so far. In 2003.
Correct.
Yeah, got it. So, and you testified at some length about the details that you knew of his murders.
I answered all the questions that they asked, yes.
So you were aware of several of the details of Carl Patton's murders?
Yes.
And for one of those murders, did he try to stage the crime scene to look like an accident?
Yes.
And did he have an accomplice who was his high school best friend?
Yes.
And did Carl at some point suspect that his accomplice was telling people about the murder?
Yes.
And at that point, did Carl decide to kill that person too?
Yes.
And did he also decide to kill that person's girlfriend?
Yes.
So it's true that Carl killed some of his victims just because he was afraid they were telling people?
Yes.
That they knew too much?
Yes.
For some of his murders, was it true that Carl wrapped up the bodies in bags?
I do not know.
You testified, as I asked a while ago, that you overheard Carl making plans for one of the murders.
Yes.
Did those plans involve him killing people for money?
I would assume so, yes.
Insurance money?
Yes.
Was that the first time you had heard him talk about killing someone?
Yes.
And what did you think at that moment? Did you think, I should get out of this house?
No.
Did you think that was a red flag about your husband?
I loved my husband.
And you didn't go directly to the police when you overheard your husband discussing murdering somebody?
No, I did not.
You, in fact, helped Carl plan the killing of Joe and Liddy, didn't you?
Yes.
And after he killed them, where did he kill them at?
In our living room.
And were any of your daughters home when this happened?
No.
Sorry.
That wasn't open.
Nope, that was me clearing my throat. I apologize.
Didn't you testify in 2003 that Melissa was in her room?
I don't recall.
Was anyone else in the house at the time?
Yes.
Who was that?
His father.
Carl's father?
Yes.
And was he awake?
I don't know.
Didn't you previously testify that he was passed out drunk on the couch?
Probably.
Yeah. Was that a habit of his?
Yes.
Was he an alcoholic?
Yes.
Okay. And did you help Carl dispose of those bodies that you killed in your house?
Yes.
And just briefly, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but how did you do that?
I don't understand how to answer that question.
How were those bodies disposed of?
They were in sleeping bags, and we took them to where they were thrown into the water.
So you drove one of them to the Flint River, correct?
Yes.
And how far was that from your house at the time?
I don't know, probably 25 miles.
Okay. And you took the other one to the Okmulgee River, is that correct?
Correct.
And how far was that from your house?
I don't recall. I don't know.
And if you had this much involvement with your husband, why weren't you prosecuted also?
I was given immunity for my testimony against him.
Wow. Let's bring in the think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland, and family law attorney Jennifer Brand. Wow. So, again, she's the mother of the victim here. Al, what are your thoughts about this testimony, this cross-examination? What does a jury do with it? What does it prove? What doubts, if any, does it raise?
This group makes the Manson family look like the Partridge family, okay? This is the most dysfunctional family I've ever seen. I mean, you didn't even see the testimony about they found the dead baby in the hamper, okay, which is testimony that will be coming later in that house. They killed someone in the living room, 2 people in the living room. Their daughter was there. The old man was drunk sleeping. I mean, this is the most dysfunctional family ever. How the jury is sitting there and thinks anything this woman says is credible is going to be remarkable to me. I mean, it's the Groovy Ghoulies. It's just the most frightening bunch I've ever seen. And, you know, they sit there and go, okay, she covered up the murder of 5 people because she loved her husband. Well, why couldn't she cover up the murder of her daughter because she loved her husband? And it seems to me that anyone who's got any information that can be used against the father or the husband
ends up
or
dead.
anyone seems to me meets an untimely death.
Darnell?
So, I mean, you know, defense is doing a great job. And you know what? Keep bringing this stuff out. As I said, you're going to be sitting there going like, as I said, it's the Manson family. It's, you know, it's just a horrendous scenario.
Darnell, there are often times I sort of poke fun at defense attorneys because they love to distract the jury and point the finger in all different directions. But like, this is a serial killer, and now this is his wife who helped plan, plot, and then plan and plot the murder and dispose of the bodies. And she's the victim here. What does that do to this case? What does that do to this jury?
Well, first of all, dysfunction is when you have bingo nights on Wednesdays, on a work night, you disturb your neighbors, when there's too many cars parked in the driveway. That's dysfunction. So for Al to call this family, who was stone cold killers, just semi-dysfunctional, Al must be cold-blooded. This family is way past dysfunctional. This family is straight cold-blooded killers. And the way she testified, I don't understand the question. And she still seemed to be unmoved. It's one thing to get immunity, but it's one thing to be unmoved by what's happening. I mean, even today, I look at her like a grandmother, and I'm hearing the words coming out of her mouth, and I think it's like a ventriloquist. I can't believe they're coming out of this woman's mouth. In terms of what's this doing to this jury, it's a hard thing, and I'm glad you finally come over to the right side where you could understand that defense attorneys have an obligation to do what they're doing and not think like a prosecutor. So there's still hope for you, Vinnie, but
the father's a serial killer, and the mother helped. Like that's I'm having a hard time getting past that. It's such a problem here. By the way, Darnell, are you broadcasting from Petticoat Junction tonight? I was hearing some trains.
Yeah, I did hear that too. Yes, Grand Central Station.
Okay, here we go. Let's take a listen. Jennifer, I need you to listen to Norma Patton here. More of her testimony, which, again, I don't understand what she thought was going to happen here. Take a listen.
And even though Carl had multiple life sentences in jail, he was still technically, or at least as far as you guys understood, eligible for parole, wasn't
Yes.
he? And you firmly expected and planned that Carl would be paroled.
Yes.
And you actually thought that was going to happen soon, didn't you?
I hoped.
In 2021, you told investigators in an interview, correct me if I'm wrong, that the only reason Carl had not been paroled already was because his son-in-law had a criminal record and was on probation. Is that correct?
Probably, yes.
So you told Shepard in that interview that you believed as soon as Christopher got put in jail, you think Carl would get to come back home to you, correct?
That's what I'd hoped, yes.
But that's also what you told him.
Yes.
Right. And you worked tirelessly for years trying to get Christopher arrested, didn't you?
Yes.
You've done podcasts.
Yes.
You've done crime conventions.
Yes.
And you've repeated these sentiments about parole on Cheryl McCollum's podcast, haven't you?
Yes.
She was even at CrimeCon, Jennifer.
Yeah, well, she was looking for her daughter's killer. And despite everything that went on with her and her husband, she really, was instrumental in bringing the defendant to trial. I mean, to getting the public to pay attention, because
can that be a problem,
was
though?
Not identified.
Jennifer, if the defense is pointing the finger at her and her husband, does that become a problem where she worked so hard to get him put behind bars?
Well, the defense is going to say that they were just trying to cover up, their own wrongdoings. But if you believe her, and while I understand it's difficult, she's still a mother, and she still was very concerned about her daughter, and no one was doing anything about it. This woman was missing for quite some time, and no one came forward. So without her efforts, we wouldn't be where we were, where we are today. So we'll see what happens.
All right, one more piece of the cross-examination about reporting her daughter missing.
If you knew something was wrong with Melissa at Christmas, why did you wait almost 60 days before you went up to check on her?
Because I had to convince her daddy that something was wrong.
Do you drive?
Yes.
Do you have a car at the time?
Yes.
Why didn't you go by yourself?
Because I didn't want to go to Atlanta by myself. He kept telling me that she's going to call today, and giving her more time because she didn't have access to a phone like I had access to a phone.
Okay. Al, what do you think of this? And obviously the husband didn't report her missing, but his story was that she left. We know that's not true. Her body was chopped up, so we know he lied. But, she lived about 45 minutes away. It's not like she lived, but she didn't want to go by herself to the big city. I don't understand why people didn't have phones back in the... Did we have phones in the 90s? Did we have them? Did we have to climb up the telephone pole to make a call? Or getting back to Petticoat Junction? Or did we have phones in the late 90s?
Only where Darnell lives in the Dominican Republic. But I mean, the phones that were there, I believe Atlanta had phones for a long time. So, that doesn't really work too well. You certainly can make a phone call. That's for sure. And may I just say this? Darnell must be dyslexic if he thinks that dysfunction means getting upset at a bingo game, okay? I don't know where that definition comes from. But nonetheless, this woman is a mother, and Jen said that she's a mother, okay? So is Ma Barker, okay? She was a mother too. This woman is horrendous. She is despicable. She is an absolute disgusting human being.
We've got more.
And you know what? And it's just incredible to me that they're putting her up there for some form of credibility, and the defense is just having a
All right, but we've got more members of the family. We've got more members of the family getting ready to testify. We're going to do that when we come back. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, new details just unsealed in the investigation of the Idaho student murders are pulling back the curtain on what really happened inside that off-campus home. Could these revelations be the key to justice at last? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law.
Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
The matriarch mastermind murder trial. Live coverage begins this week on Court TV.
When you were younger, who did you think was your biological mother?
Chris's parents.
When you were younger, did Kathy ever talk to you about Melissa?
No, ma'am.
Did Alan ever talk to you about Melissa?
No, ma'am.
Now, at any point in time, did you ever live with anyone else besides Kathy or Alan?
I didn't go stay with Chris until senior year of high school, but until then I lived with both of them.
Wow. Christina Garrett, what a tough situation for her. Her mother vanishes. She doesn't even, her father then takes off. She's raised by her grandparents, not knowing that they're her grandparents, not knowing that she had a mother who was murdered. And now here she is in the middle of everything. Let's take a listen to some more of the testimony. So she is the daughter of the victim in this case and the defendant in this case, but didn't know that until, I guess, she was a little bit older, until she was in high school. Let's watch.
I was very interested. There was a rise of true crime shows at that time too, like Law and Order and Criminal Minds and all of that. I was in a criminal justice class in high school, so we would watch some of the episodes during class, and then I would go home and watch more.
And did you ever talk to your dad about some of the shows that you were watching?
We did.
And what would you talk to him about?
Anytime there was a case that just seemed interesting or, you know, like not a typical case, we would talk about it when we were in the car.
And would he ever have any response about what you were telling him about those types of shows?
Yes. There would be times where we would talk about it, and it would be, there was a time in particular where he said that that wasn't the way that they should have done it.
And when you said that was the way that you should have done it, explain to me kind of what you said to him, what you remember, and his response. Give me some more context.
Yes. It was a murder case, and the person had been free for several times. Like, it was a very old murder case that he had been found on. And Chris said that that wasn't the way that he should have hid the body to begin with. You go out there when they're about to build a new house and put it under where the foundation of the house is going to go. And so when the crew comes back to lay the foundation the next morning, they're just going to continue building the house.
So was he trying to explain, is that how you hide a body?
Yes, ma'am.
And when he said that to you, what was your reaction to that?
It caught me off guard at first.
You said at first?
Yes. We were on our way to the gas station, so it was kind of convenient time for him to say it. I could just kind of sit there until he got done pumping gas. And then the conversation resumed after.
Did you ever ask him any questions once he said, you know, this is how you kind of hide the body, you get buried under?
Yes, it was like, it sounds like you're talking about my mom.
That's what you said to him?
Right.
Did he have a reaction?
Yes.
What was that?
That was when he told me that he didn't know where my mom was. He didn't know if she was in heaven, hell, Stockbridge, but he wished that he did.
I mean, it gets more and more unreal. I mean, this poor young woman is a true crime fan. Her father, who I guess she didn't know was her father until she found out later on was her father, is talking to her about how to get rid of a body. Meanwhile, her grandfather that we're looking at here, who she doesn't even know is her grandfather because she doesn't know who her mother was, is a serial killer, and Grandma helped him. And that's on the other side. Darnell, what are your thoughts here about how this impacts the case against the defendant, the accused killer?
I think it's compelling testimony. Again, I mean, if you go back to the idea that this family is presenting a family that juries are not accustomed to. So one, they have to scratch their heads and go, what's happening here? And after you do that, then you start to say, who has a motive, if at all, to fabricate a story? And when you listen to her testimony, she has no motive, it sounds like. She's recalling real life moments where this high school kid is entrenched in law and crime stuff at school, comes back home, watches more of it, and now is having a time to sound off with this man and tell her what she thinks, and finding out things that are very eerie. I think a jury will accept that as being spontaneous and being honest and true and unfabricated.
Okay, Jennifer, take a listen to some more of her testimony. And again, this poor young woman. Let's watch.
I was on Facebook, and on the People You May Know, I saw my mom's picture, and it had her name as if it was her Facebook page. So I clicked on it, and it explained that, we've been fighting for justice. So I messaged the page to be, who is we? Who is running this page, and who are you? And that's when I was told that it was her family, the Pattons, that have been running the page. And so I introduced myself over Facebook Messenger, and then we set up a time to meet at a Moe's in McDonough.
Wow. Could you imagine she's on Facebook and sees, justice for her mother? Doesn't even know who's running the page. It's like, her grandma, her aunt. I'm not sure at that point whether or not, I don't think, or I'm not sure I think the serial killer may be locked up at that point. I'm not sure the timing of all this, but I believe so, because Facebook started in 2005, I think? 2000. Wow, how about that, Jennifer?
I mean, how terrifying to meet this family. What a bunch. I mean, you got your grandfather who's a serial killer, your grandmother who is his accomplice, your mother's missing, your father's talking about, hiding dead bodies. I mean, this poor girl, it's just, what chance does she have in all of this to come out of this? And yet she's here testifying, and very credibly. But, how did they get to the bottom of it? Now she's talking about, the question I have is sort of, where was her mother all this time? What were they telling her? And nobody seemed to be looking for her mother. So that is troubling. But now to have her very own father be, charged with the murder, it's just horrible, horrible for her. Who does she turn to?
Al, I need you to run some numbers for me. What are the odds here that a young woman like this would be a true crime fan and student, right? Number one. And unbeknownst to her, her father is an accused murderer, and that her mother is the victim of a horrific crime, and that her grandparents were caught up in serial murders.
Wait, hold on 1 second. 222, carry the 1. About 1 in 157 million, I think, is the odds that can happen under those circumstances. And it just reminds me of that Hallmark card that says that the family that slays together stays together. I mean, what a wonderful situation for this poor young lady to be sitting there looking at this stuff and then just realizing that she's in the middle of this morass of just horror. Just so depressing. It's just
all right.
depressing.
We're going to try to cheer.
Like
well, we're not going to be able to cheer you up tonight because we've got another story that's going to be a little rough. Don't go anywhere. Think Tank staying with us. Look at this little guy, 7 months old, baby Emmanuel. Where is he tonight, and what are his parents saying, and why doesn't social media believe them?
This is what he looks like. He's just a baby. Just give our son back, please.
That's the father and mother of a 7-month-old. Did you notice on that missing poster, it just said missing kid? I've never seen that before. Like, I don't know. It just kind of struck me a little bit. Anyhow, take a look at this little guy, 7 months old, reported missing August 14th in San Bernardino County out in California. And the parents spoke afterwards, spoke to the media. And joining us now is Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. There's been a lot of reaction to them on social media. Everyone is talking about this story now. What are the parents saying?
Well, Vinnie, it's kind of a simple story. Rebecca Haro, the mother, she says that she was at this Big Five sporting goods store, changing the baby's diaper outside of her vehicle. And she says a man approached her, said, "Hola." That's all she heard. Then she said she was knocked unconscious. She was attacked. Blacked out, woke up, baby Emmanuel was gone. So then this happened late afternoon, early evening. The authorities got there close to 8 o'clock at night. They got there with their special units, their K-9 units, looking all around the area, did not find baby Emmanuel. And of course, Rebecca and her husband, Jake Haro, went to the media, RMG News, to plead for the public to come forward and try to find the baby. Take a listen to this.
We come to you guys asking you to help us find our son. He was abducted last night from Big Five. Somebody struck my wife while she was trying to change his diaper. And we just ask if anybody knows anything to please contact Ukaipa Police Department.
Don't hesitate, just call.
His name's Emmanuel. He's 7 months. He's 7 months old.
Have you been notified of any information yet by local authorities? No, we have not. They haven't told us nothing.
They said they don't have any major updates.
Do you guys plan on doing a local search of your own? We are.
Yeah, we have
at 4 o'clock here at Ukaipa.
The community set up a search party at 4:30. So we just ask you guys if you can help us, you know.
Please.
This is what he looks like. He's just a baby. Just give our son back, please.
He was wearing a black onesie with a Nike swoosh on him. If you know anything, please come forward. Please. Please bring us back our son. Safe.
So, Vinnie, you saw them there, pretty emotional, and as of now, baby Emmanuel still has not been found. But again, I had not caught it earlier, but that missing kid on the missing poster versus the child's
we kind of
name?
talk about it colloquially, like another case about a missing kid.
Right.
But I've never seen someone put that on the actual flyer, missing kid. A little strange, and I can understand why people are reacting to the parents because, we always do. Like, the public always is going to react and have, are they telling the truth or are they not telling the truth? What's important, though, is what are police saying about the investigation right now?
Well, Vinnie, of course they're doing their due diligence in this investigation, but they're now saying the mother, Rebecca Haro, has stopped cooperating with authorities. And this is why. They released this statement. The San Bernardino Sheriff's Department released this statement that says, in part, investigators interviewed multiple individuals, including Emmanuel's parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro. During those interviews, Rebecca was confronted with inconsistencies in her initial statement and declined to continue with the interview. At this point in the investigation, investigators are unable to rule out foul play in the disappearance of Emmanuel. Now, Vinnie, we're talking about consistencies versus inconsistencies. What I want to point out, if you noticed in that interview, she had a mark, a bruise under her eye. It looked like a black eye. Let's take a look at that now. It said, or she said that she was attacked by somebody in this parking lot. Is that bruise for real? Is that some kind of makeup? You never know. All the social media sleuths are going back and forth about it, but that bruise is sitting there, and that is consistent with being assaulted. But police say there are now inconsistencies in her story, but they don't specify what those are. And once they confronted her about them, now she's not cooperating anymore.
And she shut it down.
Right.
Yeah, and that could be one of two things, right? Like, you're accusing me, like, go out and find the killer, you're accusing me, or you're accusing me, I'm not going to say anything more, we're going to get a lawyer. How about the baby's father here? Now, I understand he has a little bit of a history with law enforcement.
Yeah, wouldn't call him a career criminal, but he definitely has a rap sheet. So, Vinnie, and this dates back to 2018. Jake Haro, conveniently, in the name of this case, was arrested for child cruelty charges. Now, this case back then had 16 continuances in the proceedings, which pretty much means the trial was getting pushed back for a while from 2018, all the way up until 2023 when he finally pled guilty to willful child cruelty. And in California, Vinnie, that pretty much means any person who willfully causes or permits unjustifiable physical pain or mental suffering to a child. Now, he got out on bond for that one as those proceedings were being continued. 2019, he had a couple traffic misdemeanors, but Vinnie, last year, June of 2024, this is still an active case right here. He was arrested and charged with possessing a firearm and ammunition by a convicted felon. And he actually has a violation of probation hearing coming up here soon on September 2nd.
Okay, yeah, I'm really concerned about that child cruelty, and he admitted it, right?
Yeah, most pertinent one.
A guilty plea. Wow, all right. Cody Thomas, thanks so much. Wow, a lot to get to. Think Tank still with us. Al Wunsch III, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt with us. Okay, Jennifer, what did you think of the parents?
Well, Vinnie, you know, they seemed very, very upset when they were on camera. But as Cody pointed out, there's a lot of inconsistencies in their story. And, you know, the mother changing a diaper in a parking lot, just some stranger comes up and knocks her out. I mean, it's plausible, but there doesn't seem to be any witnesses around. Nobody else can confirm this story. The child's gone. And then, oh, and by the way, dad has, you know, a rap sheet with prior child cruelty charges. So, and mom's not talking. I mean, if this child were truly gone, I mean, the parents would be out there pounding the pavement, getting other people together to search for this child. They would be desperate to find their baby. They wouldn't.
Well, they did organize. The day after. They did organize a search here, and the community was coming together. Let me ask you, Al, about shutting down the cooperation. It happened after police said that they confronted her with inconsistencies. So I can see that going one of two ways. What are your thoughts?
Well, I can see it going one of two ways. Also, it's that, you know, they get a little frightened because sometimes, you know, an innocent person needs a lawyer too, because you don't know what you're saying. Sometimes you're a little upset and maybe you make, you know, your story changes a bit, but it doesn't, you know, to have a child agency that is like, looks for lost kids, all of a sudden withdraw support, you know, participating in this, it sends up a very bad signal. And I think that in these circumstances, you put the lawyer behind you for the sole purpose of trying to find your child. And that's not being done here. So it's not a good move on their part. I mean, they could very easily just have a family spokesman, you know, instead of them talking, and just continue with the search for this child if indeed this child was abducted and if indeed her story is true. It doesn't seem plausible, but it could be true.
Yeah, Darnell, so let's look at her story, right? So she's changing a diaper in the back seat, hears someone say, hola, doesn't see anyone, and gets knocked out cold. Kind of like a 1970s episode of Mannix, where you get a karate chop in your neck and you're out cold and you don't see or remember anything. It happens to be a parking lot where there are no surveillance cameras. None.
Well, that's my problem. One, I have to disagree with her honor, Madam Chair. And again, I don't want to split hairs, but I think it's possible, but I disagree with Madam Chair. It's not plausible. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You don't just get knocked out, you know, in a parking lot for a baby. You know, maybe a gold chain, maybe some money, whatever, and then no cameras in the parking lot, and knocked out cold.
Yes, knocked out, sees white, just sees white, and remembers nothing other than the assailant saying hola, which I think they say where you are down in the DR, correct?
Yes, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Todo bien? Means hello, how are you? And no one's gonna say hello, how are you? Boom, knock you out and take your baby. You know, and normally they want to give up the babies because they don't want to pay child support. No one's actually trying to take the baby. And the funny thing about when you listen to the father, he says she was in the parking lot changing her diaper. I mean, it's so cute. I mean, it wasn't ringing true like they were really, really concerned, you know. So
you're not buying it. You're not buying it. Okay.
No, I'm not buying it.
All right. Big thanks, Al Wunsch III, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt. Awesome as always. Of course, we're going to stay on this story, but we've got some breaking news first. Oh boy, guess who's going on a road trip? She's being extradited back to Idaho from Arizona. That is convicted serial killer Lori Daybell. This may be, folks, as you look at this, maybe some of the last video that you ever see of Lori Daybell. She's getting extradited back to Idaho. Idaho, not necessarily open or having a history of allowing in-prison interviews unless she ends up in a courtroom again on some motion or hearing. We may never see Lori Daybell again, and I don't know if that would necessarily be a bad thing, not seeing her again. When we come back, folks, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, for months, the case of the slain Idaho students has been shrouded in secrecy. But tonight, sealed files are finally seeing the light of day. Will the newly revealed evidence change everything we thought we knew? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, coming up next, only on Court TV.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law.
Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
The matriarch mastermind murder trial. Live coverage begins this week on Court TV.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Oh boy, Wendi quashes Donna. Wendi Adelson quashing Donna Adelson. Donna Adelson and her team subpoenaed Wendi. They wanted her to testify for the defense, but she would not get immunity. Let's take a listen to Judge Everett as he quashes the subpoena.
The defense cannot give the witness immunity as it relates to any matters in which she would testify under and could properly invoke the Fifth Amendment privilege. No witness can be called to the stand simply to invoke the Fifth Amendment, as there would be no basis for this witness to take the stand and give testimony on a relevant matter that also could not affect her ability to also endanger her own Fifth Amendment right. I am going to grant the relief that is requested. If we need to revisit this issue for any purpose where the defense believes there is a line of questioning that will not go to the Fifth Amendment privilege of the witness, we will at the appropriate time. But I do believe it is the proper ruling at this point to quash the subpoena.
So Wendi can still be called and likely will be called by the prosecution and will be cross-examined by the defense, but that may be very close to the beginning of the trial. All right, folks, take a look at your television screens. We have a missing child who needs your help tonight. This is Jeremiah Javon Ryan Brooks. Jeremiah, just 17 years old, missing out of Vancouver, Washington. If you see Jeremiah, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference, 911. 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Vancouver Police Department in Washington. Let's see if we can get Jeremiah to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.